value contrast is the strongest element you can design into your sketch, especially urban sketching. So it is very important for you to know how dark you can go in your palette. In other words, the darkest dark. We're going to talk about it today. Just like fireworks, it's knowing the lightest light and the darkest dark, it creates this eye-catching center of focus. Your eyes just can't move away from it. It's basically the ability to capture attention. So it is very important to know the capability of your tool, your palette. How dark can it go? Contrast it against the paper white. That creates the center of interest. So it's important to know your palette and how each of these colors translate to the values. I have a video on this earlier, you can take a look at that. I have also done a swatch of my color. It looks like this, and if I were to use my camera function and turn it into Noah, I have an iPhone, I will be able to look at this and show you the values of each of these colors. And it will look something like this, which is a swatch of the black and white if you like. So therefore I know the value of my colors. A quick note about staining color. Staining color is what gives the darkest dark in watercolor that I know of. And in my palette, phthalo green blue shade is one of the most staining color at a staining color rating of 4. This is from Daniel Smith. The other color is permanent alizarin crimson. This has a rating of 3 on a staining rating. It's quite high as well, and combined these two color actually gives me the darkest combination that I can get, and actually it's beautiful because it is a combination and therefore it's better than just a single color. As you can see, if I were to mix these two color up, permanent alizarin crimson, a good amount of it, and throw in the phthalo green blue shade and a good amount of it, I get the darkest dark. I've already mixed that. You can see how dark it goes when I mix these two with a good measure of the pigment involved. The color is even more or darker than the individual color itself. Let's find a simple example from Pexel, and we can draw this, for example, this coffee cup, and we will show what's the difference if we were to paint this, one with a value of 1 to 3 and the other maximizing the value scale from 1 to 5. Let's just draw very quickly the marks repeated, just therefore 2 marks on the page. Nothing fancy, just 2 mark for quick illustration. So on the left hand side, we will be putting in a mark with a value of 1, cap out at 3. And the one on the right, we will do the full 1 to 5. So the colors I'm using, knowing my palette, for the one that is 1 to 3, cobalt blue rather than French ultramarine. Cobalt blue is a lighter version of the blue. I'm thinking in value in that sense, so here I'm laying it down just to put it all the way through, including the shadows. It's very important just to put soft edges where the shadows are, so that it's not so ghastly. But anyway, it's just a doodle. Just for illustration purposes, we are not going to be too serious about that right now. I'm mixing a darker color, and as you know, I sometimes like to go in dark. You look at a coffee, it's a combination of Queen Burnt Orange, which is a dark orange, against French ultramarine. So that gives me the darkest dark, giving almost to the value of 4.5, probably 4.5. And again, back to the coffee version of the 3, I'm using a Queen Gold, which is a much lighter version of the orange or brown, if you like, and dropping it in just where I see there is the darkest part of the mark. So you can see already that using value as a creation purpose, on the left 1 to 3, on the right 1 to 5, there is a bigger gradient, and of course it is much more attractive to the eye. The contrast of value is a very attractive proposition. You just got to remember that. I continue to plow on the same value. On the left hand side, it's cobalt, it's a little bit of Queen Gold, and a little bit of Queen Rose. On the right, it is permanent alizarin crimson, French ultramarine, queen burnt orange. So thinking like that on my palette, I would be able to create the design of value between 1 to 3 and 1 to 5 almost by understanding the colors in my palette. So there you have it, the two sketches without having to worry too much about specific details and being too clean about it. You know, the value system on the one on the left is 1 to 3, and then the one on the right is 1 to 5. So there's nothing right or wrong about it. You can see that both sketch kind of work in a way, although from the black and white version of the photo, you will see that one is more intense, the other one less so. It really is up to you as an artist to define what you want to do with your sketch. So the creation of sketches, the urban sketches that you do is in your hands. You can create images like this, but if you do not know the darkest dark in your palette, you cannot make a sketch with a value of 1 to 5. So that is the reason why I made this video, because I actually think lots of beginners are sort of shortchanged when their palette is holding them back from creating 1 to 5. They are only able to do 1 to 3 all the time, which is very limiting. So I hope you take a look at your palette, do a swatch, do the black and white photo of it, and get to know intimately each of the color, but also importantly get to know the combination and try to know which gives you the darkest dark, because then you have an extra arsenal in your urban sketching toolkit. Just like the fireworks, may you be able to create the contrast that you need and be able to attract the eye of your audience in all the urban sketching that you do. Whee Teck out, stay safe wherever you are. Bye.